Welcome to the Wind Up with Will, everyone. This is your host, Will, again here with another video talking about sports. And I know it's been a couple weeks. I'm sorry. I kept putting off when I was going to do the video, and 4th of July weekend and doing some traveling kind of got in the way of doing a video. So I'm back now. Hopefully, I can start doing these videos a little more regularly, but that's going to take some intentionality on my part. So hopefully, I can get videos coming out at a much regular pace. Sorry, I'm a little away from the microphone. I hope y'all could hear the beginning of that. Um, I'm hoping to start doing videos on a more regular pace, especially once we move into our new apartment. Me and my roommate are switching apartments. So once we get into our new apartment, I'm hoping that maybe I have a better like setup, maybe a better lighting, hopefully, and yeah, hopefully I can make that a regular habit is making these videos. So we're gonna start off on a lot of stuff has happened since the last video that I've done. So I'm just gonna try and cover as much as I can. So we're going to talk about the Stanley Cup, College World Series, Copa America, the Euros, MLB All Star, and the Home Run Derby. So we're going to talk about all these. We've got a lot to cover in this video, and I don't want it to go on too long because I know uh, no one wants to watch a 40-minute video. So we're going to try and cover as much as we can. So starting off with the Stanley Cup, that ended back June 24th was Game 7. The Oilers were down 3-1 in the series. I'm sorry, actually they were down 3-0 in the series. It looked like it was over. The series was over. And they won 3 in a row to tie it and force Game 7 back in Florida against the Panthers. And the Panthers won 2-1. What a classic Stanley Cup final. This final is going to be remembered for years for the final that it was, where it looked like the Oilers were completely out of it. Then it looked like the momentum swung back to the Oilers, where it was like, can they do this? Oh my goodness, they're going to do this. They're going to come back from down 3-0 to the Panthers closing it out in Game 7. Their head coach, Paul Maurice, getting his first Stanley Cup trophy in, I believe 26 years of coaching. And what a classic moment that's going to be. Remember the photo of him just holding the cup, just like stone faced, like that was just awesome. See, even though I was pulling for the Oilers, the Panthers beat my New York Rangers. But it was still exciting. Happy to see a team that's never won it win it, and a coach that has gone that long without winning it, finally winning his first Stanley Cup. So that's super exciting. There's been a bunch of NHL free agency, and the draft was a few weeks ago. Now, unfortunately, I don't follow college hockey and the juniors leagues like I do college basketball or college football. So pretty much all the players I don't know, but I do know that the draft did occur. Now I could pull up real quickly the first few picks in the draft. I'm blanking on who went number one. I should know it. It's why is it not coming up? Okay, number one overall, the San Jose Sharks took Macklin Celebrini. The Chicago Blackhawks took Artyom Levshinov. I definitely butchered those names. Celebrini, I think I got right. I believe that's how you say it. It looks Italian, but I'm gonna guess it's probably not Italian. The Sharks, I mean, that for a while now, this guy, I know Macklin Celebrini. They've talked about him being the number one overall pick for a while now. So clearly a great player that people have a lot of hope for. And the Chicago Blackhawks got Artyom Levshinov. Really sorry if mispronouncing that name. I probably am mispronouncing that name. I know a lot of people were saying he was the solid number two, and that after that it was kind of It was going to be interesting to see who went where, because outside of those two, anyone could be drafted anywhere. So I don't really know much about the draft. I just know it took place in Las Vegas. It took place a little over a week ago. I guess it's close to 2 weeks now. But yeah, so the NHL draft did occur. I don't have much insight on the NHL draft. I don't follow the juniors leagues and the college hockey like I do other college sports. So I'm a I'm not going to know as much information on that. But there's been some free agency that's gone on. Sam Reinhart, who scored the game-winning goal for the Panthers in Game 7, re-signed with the Panthers. So they're getting their big goal. He scored 50 goals this year. They're getting their big goal scorer back. And Steven Stamkos, the center for the Tampa Bay Lightning, been there forever. Franchise legend, one of the greats in this era, is going to play for the Nashville Predators now. The local team, just a few hours from where I live. Excited for that. I'm a Rangers fan first, but I do like the Predators just because they're nearby. So that's all I kind of got right now in the NHL. So we're going to move on to the College World Series. Now, I said in my predictions video that I will say I got the NHL predictions wrong. I said the Oilers would win over the Panthers. And I was just the only thing I got right on any of my predictions of the Stanley Cup was that the Rangers at least made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and the Oilers made it to the finals. Because my initial prediction going into the playoffs was Rangers over Oilers. Instead, we got another team out of the East, Panthers over the Oilers. So it doesn't really count because I said Rangers, but I did think the Oilers would get there. They clearly are one of the better teams. But that's about all I got right, was that the Oilers lost in the final. Now moving on to the College World Series that took place during the same time. So Game 7, I was flipping back and forth between Game 3, the championship game of the College World Series, and Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. So the College World Series Finals was between Tennessee and Texas A&M, two teams in the same conference, rivals going at it. Texas A&M won Game 1 9-5. Tennessee came back and won Game 2 4-1. And then Tennessee had a commanding lead in Game 3 at one point, but Texas A&M mustered a comeback. They tried to rally, but came up short. Tennessee won 6-5 in Game 3, giving Tennessee their first College World Series title. Super awesome for them. Congratulations to them. Their coach has built a great winning program there, and I'm sure they're going to have a great rivalry with Vanderbilt in baseball in the years to come. And Texas A&M was actually interesting that their head coach, like after the game or the next day, was asked about rumors about him leaving Texas A&M to coach Texas. And he shot those down, saying that he took the A&M job to never take another job again. And within 24 hours, he was being announced as Texas's new head baseball coach. Which is just crazy to me that happens. And just the lying. Like, I think it's one thing it's bad enough that you're going to a rival, like from A&M to Texas. Those are huge rivals. Outside of Oklahoma, A&M is Texas's next rival. So much so that like they didn't play for years once A&M left the Big 12 in football. Like they just refused to play one another. They're massive rivals. So like this is already a story in and of itself. But to just lie to the reporter asking the question and to the fans and perhaps to his team and the organization at A&M, I just think that's. I'll say it. It's classless, really. I think if you want to beat around the bush and say, well, there are decisions to be made, something to that effect. We will see in the coming days and hours. Maybe I can stay here, maybe not, and leave it at that. But to outright just lie and say I took this job and never take another job again. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying here at Texas A&M, and then less than 24 hours later, you're being announced as Texas's head coach. That is, I think if I was a fan or player or someone at A&M, I would be mad about that. So and with Texas joining the SEC now, that's going to be a rivalry. That is going to be a heated rivalry going into next season. Because a lot of the former players, or a lot of his former players that stay with A&M are going to want to beat them. So that was just something interesting there in college baseball. What do we have next on the agenda? We have Copa America next on the agenda. Now, if you don't know, Copa America is a soccer tournament that is held, I believe it's every 4 years. Back in the day, it used to be held like every 2 years, but They started going to kind of like the World Cup format and the Euros format of every 4 years. And it's between South American national soccer teams. It's a super big tournament, and it's awesome to watch, and it seems like Argentina wins it every year. But it's a great tournament. And every few years, they seem to invite some of the North American teams, like the United States and Canada and Mexico, to join in it. Now, the last iteration, the North American teams weren't in it, but this iteration there are. I think this is just kind of an increase in North American teams playing in Copa America, and I think it's eventually going to be that either the federations combine or that the North American / Caribbean, Central American teams just play in Copa America now instead of having their own tournament. Or maybe they have both. They play in both. But, I mean, that's a lot of games for soccer players to play in. But we'll see. Anyways, Copa America is going on right now. It is the big soccer tournament in the Americas. It's the biggest one every 4 years. And Team USA was in it. Wearing my Team USA hat. This is USA baseball hat, but I don't have a USA soccer hat, so supporting the boys this way. And USA did not even qualify for the quarterfinals. Like, we did not get out of the group stage. We didn't make it to the playoff rounds. We could not get out of the group stage. We beat Bolivia, lost to Panama in a game that we should not have lost, and then in the last game we played was against Uruguay, the team on top in the group. We needed to win that game to advance because Panama won theirs, which at the time games were going about the same time. Panama at one point was down or tied, and I think they were down at one point. They were tied. Yeah, they were tied at one point. So it looked like at one point we were going to advance anyway on goal differential because we were tied with Uruguay, but it was not meant to be. And if you watched the Uruguay game, I unfortunately wasn't able to watch the Panama or Bolivia game, but I watched the Uruguay game. The referee in the game was not good at all, and the announcers pointed out that it was his first like international game or first game ever in Copa. Like, your first game as an international referee is one of the biggest games in U.S. soccer, in the U.S. soccer teams in the last few years. It's in basically almost an elimination game in Copa America. Like, your first game should have been like earlier on in the group stage. Like, why is your first game now? Like, and the referee was horrible. Like, there was a goal by the U.S. or first goal by Uruguay should not have been allowed. It was clearly offsides. And I've watched things where there are soccer fans, or if they call themselves football fans, in Europe that have reacted to it, that have talked about it, people who've played the game, they all point out, like, how in the world was that allowed? Like, there's clearly a line with the VAR technology that shows he's offsides. He was the ref a few times where, like, he should have allowed the USA to play advantage, blew the play dead. So instead of the USA maybe having a chance at a fast break or running up the field when they should have had an advantage, he blows the play dead and brings the ball back for a free kick. Like, there was just things like that didn't make sense, that looked weird. And I like soccer, but I am not someone who watches soccer all the time like I do baseball or football or basketball, but I do love watching it, and I understand the rules a little bit. I'm not a diehard fan, so I don't know all the nuances that a lot of other people do, but watching the game, the referee was just bad, and the fact that so many other people, like former players and announcers and fans in Europe that aren't even from the United States, are pointing out how bad the referee was. Like, you got to think that this guy's got to be investigated or something. Like, that's his first game ever. I mean, I will say that's a lot of pressure to be under. But why was that his first game? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. why that was decided. I'm going to get off my soapbox. USA maybe got robbed there. I mean, we went on to lose. What was the final score of that game? Where's the game? So we lost only 1-0, but even if we stay level, like we don't advance. We needed to score a goal, but there was a few opportunities for the Team USA, but we didn't make the best of it. The fact we lost to a Panama team we probably shouldn't have lost to, and the fact it came down to the last game, and the result of this is just earlier today, the men's national team for the U.S. just fired Greg Berhalter, the head coach. This was his second stint with Team USA. I don't know why he had a second stint. He's a good coach. I don't think he's a horrible coach, but clearly there needs to be new direction, and it might be too late for the World Cup coming up in 2 years here in the United States, which is just crazy to think about because I remember a few years ago, man, 2026, how far away that is that we'll be hosting the World Cup. Now it's just 2 years away, and is that enough time to prepare the team for the World Cup and head it in a new direction and get it where it needs to be? We'll see as time goes on. Hopefully it is, as USA is hosting, and I would like to see USA make a run, even if we don't win it all or even make the finals or semifinals, just to win a game in the elimination round, in the quarterfinals, like just to win a game, like get out of the group stage and win a game, maybe knock someone off. That would just be super exciting, and what that would mean to USA soccer. So getting off my little soapbox there, we're going to go through the actual Copa America so far. So there's 4 groups with 4 teams in each. In Group A, Argentina won it, and Canada was the runner-up. Argentina won all their games. Canada won 1, drew 1, lost 1. In Group B, Venezuela won it, undefeated, and then Ecuador was the runner-up. In Group C, Uruguay won it, undefeated. Panama was the runner-up. And in Group D, Colombia won it, and Brazil was the runner-up. Moving on to the quarterfinals, Argentina beat Ecuador in penalties. Canada beat Venezuela in penalties. Colombia trounced Panama 5-0. Uruguay and Brazil played to a 0-0 draw before Uruguay won in penalties. The semifinals were yesterday and today of Copa America. Argentina beat Canada 2-0. I don't know why Argentina and Canada were on the same side. Maybe that's typical of Copa America's format. But Argentina won 2-0 to advance to the finals, and Colombia beat Uruguay 1-0 to advance to the finals. The third place game will be played Saturday, July 13th between Canada and Uruguay. And the final between Argentina and Colombia will be played Sunday, July 14th at 7 p.m. The third place game will be on FS1. The final will be on Fox. I'm going to say Argentina wins it, and that this is going to be kind of Messi's storybook ending to his national career, because it's thought that this will probably be it for him playing for the national team. He's playing in MLS right now with Inter Miami. Actually, not last weekend, but the previous weekend, so the last weekend in June, I got a ticket a month in advance to go watch Inter Miami and Messi play at Nashville SC. Super excited to see it. And like the week of, I realized that Copa America was going on, and I was like, is he going to be playing in that instead of MLS? And I was like, he is, isn't he? It's like, man. But I had a super fun time. Nashville has a super awesome stadium. I will definitely be going to games again. I'm going to a game again in August around my birthday. I'm going to go with a friend and one of his friends. We're going to go watch Nashville play again. I'm super excited. It's a great stadium. Get me more into the sport of soccer. I can say I'm a Nashville SC fan now. But hopefully I get to see Messi at some point. Maybe next year. But this is probably his swan song with the Argentina national team. Won the World Cup back in 2022 with Argentina. I was super happy for him in that one of the greatest players ever finally wins a World Cup. And he's looking like he's going to win Copa America again with Team Argentina. moving on over to the Euros. I believe is this the, no, I got a couple more things to talk about. We'll move over to the Euros real quick. The Euros is Europe's every 4 year competition in soccer, where it's not the World Cup, but it's like Copa America, where only certain teams can play in it. And for them, it's the teams in Europe. Only teams in Europe can play in this competition. There's a qualification process to it, and they have 6 groups of 4 teams. The top 2 teams in each group advance, and then 4 of the best third place teams qualify for the round of 16. It's kind of a weird way of doing that, but that's the current format. So we'll go through each of the groups. Group A, Germany won that group. Switzerland was the runner-up. Hungary finished in 3rd place, and Scotland was 4th place. Actually, I won't go. I'll read the top 3 in each group. So I'm not sure all of the nations that. Actually, let me look real quick to make sure which nations qualified for the group of 16. Because I'm on ESPN and it's not showing that in the group stage. It's just showing who finished where in the groups. Okay. I think I've got it memorized. So okay, yeah. So I got it memorized now. It's just kind of weird because it's not the top 3 in every group. So I had to make sure I had all the teams right. So in Group A, Germany won it. Switzerland was the runner-up. Both of them advanced to the round of 16. Group B, Spain was the winner. Italy the runner-up. Both of those advanced to the group of 16. Group C, England won the group. Denmark was the runner-up, and Slovenia was the 3rd place team, and they got to advance to the group of 16. In Group D, you had Austria win the group, France the runner-up, and Netherlands finished in 3rd. The Netherlands got to advance to the round of 16. In Group E, you had Romania come out of that group winning. Very uniquely, every nation in that group won 1, drew 1, lost 1, and it was decided by goal differential on who was in the top 2. Romania won the group. Belgium was the 2nd place. Man, that is really playing tricks with my eyes. Their flags are so similar, except that Romania has blue on the far left and Belgium has black. For a second there, I was like, which country's which? Romania won the group. Belgium finished in 2nd. Slovakia was in 3rd place. They got to advance to the round of 16 as well. Group F, Portugal won the group. Turkey was the runner-up, and Georgia finished in 3rd place. They also got to advance to the round of 16. I don't think many people probably had that on their bingo card. But on to the round of 16. Switzerland beat Italy 2-0. Italy was the defending Euro champions from 4 years ago. That would have been 2020. I think the 2020, I don't remember exactly if the 2020 season was played in 21, but I do remember Italy won it because they beat England in the final. Because England's never won it. You had Germany beat Denmark 2-0. England almost lost to Slovakia. They were down 1-0 and scored 2 goals in the 90 minutes stoppage time. Hold on a second. My laptop is dying. I've got to plug it in. There we go. Should be good now. So England almost lost to Slovakia. They were down 1-0, and then they scored 2 goals after the 90th minute in stoppage time to win. 2-1. Spain beat Georgia 4-1. France beat Belgium 1-0. Portugal beat Slovenia in penalty kicks after a 0-0 draw. The Netherlands beat Romania 3-0. And Turkey beat Austria 2-1. So the quarterfinals, Spain beat Belgium 2-1. France and Portugal played to a draw, and France won in penalty kicks. Maybe I shouldn't say a draw, because I guess it's technically not a draw. But they, after regulation and extra time, they played penalty kicks, and France won over Portugal. England had a 1-1 game with Switzerland, in which they won in penalty kicks. The Netherlands won 2-1 over Turkey. So that sets up the semifinals of Spain versus France and the Netherlands versus England. Great semifinal already. And Spain wins 2-1 over France, upsetting what has kind of been a great run for France of winning the World Cup, almost winning the World Cup again, nearly winning the Euros in that span as well, because if you go back to 2016, France was the runners-up in the Euros to Portugal. So it has been a great run for France. Not saying it's over. They've still got a lot of great players. So we will probably still see France being good for a while. But Spain beats them 2-1 to reach the final. And England beats Netherlands 2-1 to reach the final. They were down 1-0, and Harry Kane scored a penalty kick. And then there was an on goal to give them the 2-1 win. And on to the final, which will be played Sunday, July 14th at 2 p.m. on Fox. So Fox is going to have the Euros final at 2 and the Copa America final at 7 on the same day. Unlike Copa America, there is no third place game apparently. But I'm super excited for this. I think Spain and England's going to be a great matchup. Spain's women just won the World Cup a year ago. England is looking to win their first Euros. Spain is looking to win, I think, their first trophy since they won the World Cup in 2010. So we will see who wins this game. I might be wrong on that. Correct me in the comments down below if Spain has won something. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Spain. If they've won any kind of tournament or competition, there might be some other competition I'm unaware of that they've won. But Spain is looking to relive glory. That outside of the World Cup, this is the biggest national stage for these players, is the Euros. And for over here in Americas, it's Copa America. But over there, it's the Euros. That is their next great stage after the World Cup. Spain's looking to win that, and England's looking to win their first ever. I honestly don't know if Spain has won it before. They might not have won it before, or they might have won it before. I'm not sure. I believe they've probably won it before. I just know England hasn't won it. So I will probably be pulling for England just because they've not won it. I'd like to see them win. I'd like to see Harry Kane win something. He's not won any kind of trophy. So hopefully they win it. But if Spain wins it, I'll be happy for them as well. I'm looking forward to that game on Sunday. I'm looking forward to Copa America on Sunday as well. Let's quickly move over to the MLB All Star Game and the Home Run Derby. Let me get the Home Run Derby participants up first because just get that up. If it will load for me. Why? I just want a bracket. Give me a bracket. I don't know why it's not. Okay, I just want the bracket. Where is it? There it is. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to hold on to that for a second. I'm going to pull up the All Stars real quick. Well, crap. Here, I'll pull it up on the computer. We're gonna still be filming, so but I'm just going to be pulling up the All Star rosters real quick because I can't get it on my phone. Okay, so I've got this pulled up, but I'm going to briefly talk about who I voted for the All Star game because that was like leading up to the week right before the 4th of July, which I should mention since I haven't mentioned already. Happy 4th of July to everyone out there. I hope you had a great and safe 4th of July weekend. It was super fun, super patriotic, hopefully. And sorry I didn't do a video sooner so I could tell you sooner. But here is who I voted for the All-Star game. I'm going to be a little biased because, as you can see, I'm a Mets fan. So my votes are going to be biased, but that's what the All-Star voting is supposed to be about. You vote for who you want, not necessarily who is the most deserving, even though that probably should be the criteria. But I'm going to go through who I voted for in the National League. At first base, I voted for Pete Alonso. He's currently my favorite player in MLB, so I'm going to vote for him. Second base, I picked Luis Arraez, who's kind of in the competition for the batting title. He's fallen off a little bit, but I think he's one of the better second basemen in the game. Alec Bohm at third base. He's probably been the best third baseman in the National League this year. The position's kind of been down this year with Nolan Arenado not playing well and Manny Machado kind of having a down year. Austin Riley being injured for the Braves for a while. So Alec Bohm seemed like the good choice for me here. If Mark Vientos had played longer of the season so far for the Mets, I would have voted for him. But Alec Bohm's a good choice. Shortstop, I picked Francisco Lindor. Shortstop for the Mets. He is second in the National League in extra base hits, only behind Shohei Ohtani. And the last 2 or 3 years, Lindor, I feel like, has not got enough credit for being such a good hitter and player for the Mets. And it's because the last 2 or 3 years he gets off to a horrible start to the season. He goes on a great run, kind of in the middle of the year to get his batting average from like 190 or 200 all the way up to like 250. Great run, but it never gets him the respect to have an all-star appearance or even in the conversation. I guess he's kind of in the conversation for the All-Star because there's people talking about he got snubbed this year. I think he did get snubbed, but I think he is the best shortstop in the National League. So I voted for him. In the outfield, I voted for Brandon Nimmo, who's having an All-Star worthy year, especially right now. Like, I know the voting's over and everything, but he's hit a home run the last 3 games. He's catching up to Alonso in home runs on the Mets, and Alonso's a huge slugger. So Nimmo's having a phenomenal year, and he's raised his average all the way from like 214, where it was over the last month, has risen it up to like 250. So he's been on a great run as well with Francisco Lindor. The other outfielders I voted for Jerickson Profar and Fernando Tatis, both with the Padres. Both of them are having great years. Catcher, I voted for William Contreras, just kind of really the only standout catcher in the fold in the National League. And at DH, I voted for Shohei Ohtani, who's the best player in the game right now. Reigning MVP. He should be a starter. And in the American League, I voted for Vladimir Guerrero at first base. I voted for Jose Altuve at second base. Guerrero's kind of had a down year. Maybe should have voted for Josh Naylor, but I like Guerrero. Always have, so voted for him. Jose Altuve, whether you hate him, whether you like him, he's a good player. And I think he probably is the best second baseman in the American League, so I voted for him. Third base is Jose Ramirez. He's been probably the best third baseman in all-around third baseman in MLB for a few years now, and he just never gets talked about because he plays for Cleveland, and he doesn't play for New York or Chicago or LA or Miami or Washington. He plays for Cleveland, a team that has went through a rebrand over the past few years and doesn't necessarily have quite the winning culture that some of the other teams have, like the Dodgers and the Cardinals, and that affects how people view him. And that's no offense to Cleveland or Cleveland sports or Cleveland fans, but they know that they don't get the media attention that New York or Boston or Chicago or LA does. And I think that's hurt him and just getting like people knowing him, household name. But baseball fans know him. He is a phenomenal player. He's building himself perhaps a plaque in Cooperstown. He is having a great year again this year, and he's had a great career so far. Hoping that more people start to recognize him. He's a potential MVP candidate in the American League. Gunnar Henderson at shortstop is another potential MVP candidate. He's chasing Aaron Judge in home runs. He's having a phenomenal year for the Orioles, and part of the reason that they're in first place in the American League East. In the outfield, I voted for Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. Both of them are having great years, and Aaron Judge is having arguably a better year than he did a couple years ago when he hit 62 home runs. He's already at 80 RBIs, and a couple years ago when he had hit the 62 home runs, he only had like 131 on the year. So he's only like 50 RBIs away from that. Roughly, I think he has a little over 80 now. He's only like 50 RBIs away from that, and he's got like still nearly half the season to play. So he could potentially get close to 160 RBIs. I think he's clearly the MVP frontrunner in the American League. He's having a phenomenal season. Juan Soto is being Juan Soto. He's kind of risen back up to what he was with the Nationals, where he's not just a great drawing walks, but also hitting for a good average. And part of the reason the Yankees have been good, but the Yankees are kind of in a slide right now. They've kind of hit a rough spot where the Orioles have caught them, but still having a great year. The other outfielder is Kyle Tucker. I believe he's injured at the moment, but by stats, I was going to vote for him. Anyway, his stats stood out to me. I kind of thought he was deserving to get it. So I voted for Kyle Tucker, and he got kind of injured around the time when I was doing my voting. Catcher is Adley Rutschman with the Orioles, another reason that the Orioles are so good. And at DH is Yordan Alvarez with the Astros, who is having a phenomenal season. He's a great hitter as well. Part of the reason the Astros are kind of heading back up and starting to catch the Mariners is because of the hitting. Players like Altuve and Kyle Tucker, even though he's injured now, and Yordan Alvarez. So those were my picks that's who I voted for. And the first round, they get 3 finalists out of that, and then fans vote again. I, unfortunately, due to my busy schedule, wasn't able to participate in the finalist vote, so I don't have a vote there for who I voted for. But what I do have is the actual rosters now. And they've added a few players. They've added reserves because players are either injured or can't participate in it. And they've added the starting pitchers as well. Something which I really wish MLB would allow fans to vote for pitchers. And not a starter, obviously, because with pitchers in MLB, you can't just let someone vote or fans vote for the starters because of various issues, like maybe the starter pitched a few days before the All Star game and he's just not eligible to play. So, I mean, there's issues like that, and clearly you want to protect pitchers' health and their arms. So I understand that part, but I do think fans should be able to vote for a pitcher or two to make the All-Star team. I think that would be a cool implementation in future All-Star voting and games. But I'm just going to go through what the rosters are currently. This is from one day ago, so if there's been any updates today, I'm going to be slightly off, but this is what we have so far, what I see. So the American, and I'm sorry this video is going to go over 40 minutes. I'm going to have to share my ideas for the All-Star Game and Home Run Derby in a later video, just because this video is running on long, but I'm going to go through the All-Star rosters real quick. In the American League, at catchers, Adley Rutschman. First base is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Second base is Jose Altuve. Third base is Jose Ramirez. Shortstop's Gunnar Henderson. Outfield is Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and Steven Kwan. And the DH is Yordan Alvarez. So I voted for everyone that was the starter except for the other outfielder, who's Steven Kwan, and that's partly because I think Kyle Tucker is injured. But Steven Kwan is very deserving of it. He's had a phenomenal year, and he is in the batting title race currently. I believe he's currently leading the American League in batting average. And just double check that real quick. He is. He's batting .361. He just got enough at bats the other day to jump up to the lead at .361. The reserves, We've got catcher Salvador Perez with the Royals, Carlos Correa, Rafael Devers, Josh Naylor with Cleveland, who I mentioned earlier, Isaac Paredes with the Rays, Marcus Semien with the Rangers. Jordan Westburg was just added with the Orioles, Bobby Witt Jr. with the Royals, outfielder Jarren Duran, outfielder Riley Green, outfielder Kyle Tucker. So he did make it as a reserve. I think he might be coming back from injury. And DH David Fry with Cleveland. I maybe should mention the teams that all these players are with. I'll try and do that with the National League team and with the pitchers here. Starting pitchers, so these are starting pitchers that made the roster. We will see who actually does start, though. That's going to be up to the manager to decide. Perhaps the league offices as well, discussing and of course the teams and the players themselves to make sure the health of the pitchers are okay, who can start. So we got Tyler Anderson with the Angels, Corbin Burns with the Orioles, Garrett Crochet with the White Sox, Logan Gilbert with the Mariners, Tanner Huck with the Red Sox, Seth Lugo with the Royals, Co Reagans with the Royals, Tarek Skubal with the Tigers. Relief pitchers are Emmanuel Clace with the Cleveland Guardians, Clay Holmes with the Yankees, Mason Miller with the Athletics, and Kirby Yates with the Rangers. I believe, did Brooks Rooker make it to the I don't think Brooks Rooker made it to the All-Star game. He's not on the roster, at least showing there. On to the National League. We've got the starters. Catcher William Contreras with the Brewers, Bryce Harper at first base for the Phillies. He was voted in. He's been on the injured list. He might have just come back. Yeah, he just came back the other night. So he should be eligible for the All-Star game to be playing. Second base is Ketel Marte with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Third base is Alec Bohm with the Phillies. Shortstop is Trey Turner with the Phillies. Outfielder Christian Yelich with the Brewers makes a reappearance in the All-Star game as a starter. Jerickson Profar with the Padres and Fernando Tatis with the Padres both make the All-Star team as starters. And DH Shohei Ohtani, the best player in the game, playing for the Dodgers now, rounds out the starters. I wasn't quite as good in the National League. I did get Contreras, Bohm, Profar, Tatis, and Ohtani. Kind of missed out on the infield a little there. The reserves is catcher Will Smith with the Dodgers, infielder C.J. Abrams with the Nationals, Pete Alonso with the Mets, Luis Arraez with the Padres, Mookie Betts with the Dodgers, Elide La Cruz with the Reds. He was their lone representative. Part of the reason that Lindor got snubbed at shortstop. But every team has to have a player on the team. And that's the great thing about MLB's All-Star Game is that every team has a player representative on the team. I think that's a great thing for the All-Star Game. I think other All-Star games, like perhaps the NFL, should have that. Freddie Freeman with the Dodgers made it. Ryan McMahon with the Rockies made it. Teoscar Hernandez with the Dodgers made it. Jackson Merrill with the Padres made it. Really, Nimmo really should have made it over Merrill. I know Merrill's had a great year, but Nimmo has just played a lot better, especially here recently. Heliot Ramos with the Giants, Brian Reynolds with the Pirates, and DH Marcell Ozuna with the Braves. Starting pitchers, Tyler Glasnow of the Dodgers made it. Hunter Green for the Reds made it. Shota Imanaga for the Cubs, a rookie in the league, made it. Ronaldo Lopez of the Braves made it. Chris Sale, who's having a great emergent season, he made it with the Braves as well. Paul Skeens in his rookie season, Livy Dunn's boyfriend, made it with the Pirates. He made it to the All-Star game. Ranger Suarez with the Phillies made it. Logan Webb with the Giants made it. And Zach Wheeler with the Phillies made it. Those are the starting pitchers. And the relief pitchers, we've got Ryan Helsley with the Cardinals, Jeff Hoffman with the Phillies, Tanner Scott with the Marlins, Matt Strahm with the Phillies, and Robert Suarez with the Padres. My prediction for starting pitchers is going to be Chris Sale for the National League and Seth Lugo for the American League. That's my picks. I know this video has run on long enough. But let me know your thoughts and comments down below on the College World Series, Stanley Cup Finals, Copa America, Euros, and what do you think of the MLB All Star Game coming up? Oh, I forgot to mention, I almost forgot it. Almost forgot to mention the Home Run Derby. The Home Run Derby participants are Pete Alonso with my Mets. Go Mets. Pete Alonso, Alec Boehm, Adolis Garcia, who's having a really down year, but he is someone who does well in this kind of tournament or format. Gunnar Henderson, Teoscar Hernandez, Marcelo Zuna, Jose Ramirez, and Bobby Witt Jr. I'm excited for the Home Run Derby. The Home Run Derby will be next Monday night, and the All-Star Game will be next Tuesday night. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I will see you on the next video. Sorry for the length of this video, but I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.